Hi, all. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. So let's go ahead and start in seated first. And as we sit nice and tall, go ahead and just come into Sukhasana, this easy seated pose. And I'm doing something different today. I'm using my laptop. So if there's any problems with the volume or anything, those of you that know me, text me and I'll look at my phone and remember to make any adjustments because it just kicked me off like 2 seconds ago. So, anyways, let's come into Sukhasana, this easy seated pose. So, today's practice is more about stretch and strength. So, you're not going to see the sun salutations in this practice, but you're going to get a little more stretch and ease. If you have blocks, I want you to use the blocks. If you have a belt, keep that belt close by because we'll use it in a few minutes. But when we come into Sukhasana, this easy seated pose, some of you may need a blanket. And so, what you would do is sit up on the blanket, let your pelvic tilt forward, and have some ease in the hips. Others may choose to sit on a block, takes you a little bit higher, and others we're just going to sit on the earth. I want to work that heart chakra, cat hair. So what we're going to do, mudra. And so we're going to bring the thumbs in. So you see how your thumb almost, your pointer finger makes a little curly cue against the thumb. And then you're going to take your ring finger and your middle finger and lightly tap it to your thumbs. It's like the fire, symbolizing the fire from your heart. And then from here, you can gently touch your pinkies and have this mudra right in front of your heart. And then relax the shoulders, lift up nice and tall. And if you're comfortable, close your eyes. And just take a moment to settle into this space. This ability to let go, to start drawing the awareness in. How is the body feeling? Recognize your breath. Is it frantic? Is it slow? Are you taking it somewhere to where it starts to begin to feel more ease? Seal the lips and breathe through the nose. So important to take these first minutes of class to just settle into this space, letting go of our thoughts and our to do list so we can truly be in this moment, finding ease and relaxation. Begin to take the breath deeper. Notice how the air is filling the space in the body. And is there any space in the body that feels stuck? And if so, take that inhale and imagine it's going to those areas that are stuck and you're melting ice to water. Taking a deeper connection to this breath, let's add a count. So let's inhale for 4, pause for 4, exhale 4. Do that again. Inhale 4, pause, exhale. Moving up, inhale for 5, pause for 5, exhale 5, inhale 5, pause, exhale, inhale 6, pause for 6. Make sure your shoulders aren't rising up. Keep them drawing to your back pockets. Exhale 6. Inhale 6. Pause. Exhale 6. Inhale 7. Pause 7. Exhale, 7. If we get to a number that's too intense, return to the one that you felt more ease. Inhale, 7. Pause. Exhale. One more set. Inhale, 8. Pause, 8. Exhale, 8. One more round for 8. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. Release the arms, change that lead leg. Just take a moment here to just relax, settle here. See what this space feels like. When we can bring our awareness to the breath, we may find ourselves truly becoming present, allowing us to let go of all that noise, whether it's in the mind or in the world, and just be in this moment. Those things will still be there for you when class is over. Just let this time be for you. Go ahead and turn in either direction on the mat, and I want you to go ahead and lay all the way back. So as we turn, we can lay all the way back. Coming into this deconstructive rest, first take your feet and open up them hip width apart, a little bit wider, and then let your knees roll in. Let the inner knees touch. Place your hands on your belly. And just take a few moments now and see how it feels to let your body sink heavy into the mat. Your back, your shoulders, your feet. Make that connection of the inner knees touching. Whether you leave your arms on your stomach, on your earth, or the arms out to a low V, it is up to you. But I want you to open your knees and keep your feet wider than your hips. And imagine your knees are like windshield wipers, and you're slowly going to just move them side to side. And just allow your body to just kind of roll from hip bone to hip bone. Some of you may roll deeper where you're going to really let the knees drop down towards the floor. Let's bring mobility into these hips. You can link your breath with the movement, or you can just breathe as your legs move. Let's go ahead and take this one more time to each side. And then we're going to add a little hold. So roll the hips and knees over to the left and take that stretch here. You can even intensify the stretch a little bit by pulling your right knee down and pushing your hip towards the left. Feeling a little more pressure into the inner blade of the right foot. Then inhale, center. Exhale, roll the hips and knees over to the right. And again, your knees may not go that far, and that's okay. It doesn't mean they have to touch the floor. But then you can push your left hip a little bit closer to the right and draw your knee down towards the narrow edge of your mat. And then slowly come back to center, heel toe the feet in line with the body. Let's take that left knee into the chest, this single wind press, and leave your right leg right where it's at for now. And just take a moment here and point and flex the foot. Start to bring movement into the ankle joint, and then go ahead and circle it around. Moving it in that circle, if you have snap, crackle, pop, change directions. You may have to eliminate how big that circle is, and then hold here and just bounce your foot. Yeah. Now come back to that hold and feel free to slide your right leg out nice and long as you hold here, deepening that stretch. Then open your knee a little bit outside the hip, almost like you're prepping to send that knee under the shoulder. And we're going to actually take a circle here. So again, your arms can come down at the waist or out to the letter T, and you're going to circle the leg out and around, and then come across to the right side and back outside the left shoulder, and then down. And if you have to turn and look or sit up to see what I'm doing, go ahead and take a moment to do that because we'll do a couple more here. If you have this popping in your hip, or any grinding. You're going to want to make that movement a little bit smaller. Let's go 2 more times around. But in a circle, just like the face of a clock, we're going to change direction. So hold that knee outside your shoulder and now come across. Take the leg down and then open it back up. Make sure you keep your shoulders anchoring you to the mat. So this gets into your back as well. And keep circling that knee around, finding your pace, and go 2 more times. We're not here for perfection. So do what feels best for you. And when you come back around, your knee is outside your shoulder, right? And now we bring it back to center. Start with a bent knee for this one and take your hands to the hamstring and press your heel to the sky. As you press your heel to the sky, I want you to push your leg into your hands, but then pull your hands to your leg. So stop that leg from pulling too far or dropping too far away by putting power. Feel the power of your heel pressing up to the sky. And then feel free if you want to slide that left leg out. Now push through, or right leg out, push through both heels. Now to come into figure four, I want you to bend the knee of the right leg and take that left leg over the thigh. And from here, you're going to have that knee open. Hands can come down to the earth. And just feel this opening. And then I want you to windshield wiper your knees here. So we roll to the right, and then roll to the left. So just like we did in the beginning when both feet were on the floor, and feel your inner edge of your foot and the outer blade of your foot making contact with the mat the entire time you roll. So outer blade as you roll to the right, inner blade as you roll to the left. And let's take this 1 more time each direction. And now I want you to roll your foot towards the floor. Your right knee goes down, your left knee stays aiming up to the sky. So just like when you were here, you're pressing your knee open, do the same thing when you're tilted to the side. Arms can go out nice and long or wherever they feel comfortable. Then come back to the center. Stay here or float the hip over the knee, or reach to that hamstring and start to hug the leg to the body. But notice, are your knees dropping to the left? If so, bring the knees back to the center and just hold that release here. As we move into a variation for half happy baby, I want you to release your right foot down and then take your hands to your left hamstring and reopen that leg outside your shoulder and your rib cage. Stay here or move the hands to the calf, the ankle, or go to the heel. Be very careful of rolling and kicking the foot to the side. Imagine you're holding up the ceiling as you pull your left hip joint back down to the floor. That's your right. Let's release that foot to the earth and we're ready to set up for the other side. Float the right knee towards the chest, holding anywhere along the leg. I just caution you when you hold at the kneecap, try to come down or to the back of the leg. Holding in this single wind press for a moment and then go ahead and circle that ankle around. And then other direction. Take a pause here, point and flex the foot. And then go ahead and bounce that foot. So you're just kind of letting that foot, that ankle kind of flop like a rag doll. And then from here, let's go ahead and extend the leg out long, getting that full stretch through our single wind press. And now open the knee outside your rib cage, more like towards the outside of your shoulder. And then your hands can come down to the earth. And then we do those circles. So press the left hip to the floor as you bring the leg down and circle around and around. Yeah. So keep doing that. You might have props in the way that you have to move. And don't be afraid to roll over towards that left hip when you're circling around 1 more time. Listen to that hip joint. Pause outside your ribs and then come over to the left, down with the leg, out and around to the right, and come across. Yeah. So belly drawn to the spine so your core feels supported through this movement. 2 more times around here. Nice. And then as you come back around to that hip opener, hold here. We then bring the leg back to center, bend the knee, and first take your interlaced fingers behind the leg at the hamstring and press the heel to the sky. Now, again, we're going to press the leg into the hands, but then we're going to pull the hands to our chest, stopping the leg so it reaches to the sky and feel like your outer leg is just growing all the way past your heel. So pushing up, growing strong, and then we move into figure four. So cross the ankle over the thigh, and the knee likes to roll in. So open up that knee through the hip joint, feeling that deeper activation. And again, let's release the arms. And just like we did in the beginning, we're going to windshield wiper those knees. So roll to the left, roll to the right. So just allowing yourself to float across your mat at your own pace. So it's not about how quickly I'm moving or slowly, it's about you. Let's go ahead and do this one more time each side. And then when you come back, try to get your right foot down, left knee to the floor. And again, try not to let the knee collapse in. Press the knee open. Let your hip be very active here. If your foot and knee don't touch down, then you're still going to hold here, but keep drawing the knee away. And if you're thinking, Tiffany, my leg doesn't even go that far, maybe you're here. And that's okay. We all start somewhere. Wherever your start is up to you. Let's go ahead and come back to center. And as we do this, we're going to take this leg and slowly open it outside the chest. Bring your hands to your hamstrings. So half happy baby, we can hold here, move to the calf, the ankle, or go to the outer blade of the foot. Try to pull that left hip bone back down to the floor. You may even see your knee open a little bit to kind of counter what's happening across the hips. And then let's release and hug both legs into our chest, this double wind press. If you're protecting a back, roll to one side to bring yourself up. Otherwise, you can just gently press yourself up and extend the legs out here. I want you to go ahead and grab your belt if you're using a belt today. Tuck your left foot into your inner thigh. Take your right foot to your belt to the ball of the right foot for Janu Shirshasana. As you lift up tall, turn your belly button to the knee and then a gentle stretch forward. Now, if we don't have a belt, we can bring our hands to the earth. If you're one who buckles at the belly, you're going to start to load the back. So use your fingertips, lengthen, and just hold where the lengthening takes you. And you can press that knee down to the earth. If your knee is high up in the sky, you may want to send the block there just to offer a little bit more support. And then let's release and change legs. Take the belt into the left foot, tucking the right foot in. We rotate our belly button to the knee and then lift up out of our pelvic and then slowly tip forward. And some of you can walk your hands down the belt. It's nothing special about being able to grab the foot, especially when our knee is up in the air, we're rounding through the back and diving. We really want this sensation of lengthening through the body. And then slowly release. Now go ahead and place the other foot back into the belt. So we're in Dandasana, sitting up nice and tall. And again, the option of no belt, fingertips behind the back, just allowing us to stretch. And then as you're here, slowly draw yourself forward towards the toes. But instead of your chin pulling you, let your heart and the top of the head draw you to the toes. Take a moment here and release that belt. What I want you to do is scoop your hands under your hamstrings, and as you tip off your sit bones, take your tiptoes to the floor. So let's do a little strength work here. Hold the hamstrings, lift the heels, and now we come into this boat Navasana prep. And as we hold here, we can reach towards the heels, lifting the chest nice and tall, and keep holding. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release your feet and make your way into table pose, coming to all fours. As we make our way to all fours, we're going to open our hands up shoulder width apart and our knees open hip width apart. When you take cat and cow, I'd like you to turn your toes under and then release. So while we're here, we're going to exhale to round, turn the toes under, and then inhale, arch and lift. Exhale, round, turn toes under. Inhale, arch and lift. Continue to move, rounding and release. One more time, round and release. We come back into this neutral spine of table, and let's go ahead and extend the right leg back. From here, moving into spinal balance, lift your foot off the earth. Make sure your pinky toe is aiming to the earth and your back is nice and long and strong. So if your heel is kicked higher, you're activating the back. And then let's reach the left arm out. Return the hand and knee to the earth. Extend that left leg out. Turn your pinky toe to the earth. Push the floor away. And feel free to stay right here or extend that arm out nice and long. Looking down to the earth, pulling the belly button to the spine, and return the hand and knee to the mat. And let's continue to move this one breath, one move, finding the pace that works for you. So we inhale to extend and exhale to return. Your inhale is to reach out long. Your exhale is to come back. So continue to move one breath, one move as you float that arm out and away from the body. Good. Let's go ahead and take this one more time each side. Finding power and stability as we extend the opposite arm and leg. When you return to hands and knees, let's come into puppy pose. So keep your hips stacked over your knees. Take your elbows forward of your hands and slowly release towards the earth. And just let your head release, your chest go heavy. See what works for you. Now press into the forearms, into the hands to rise up. Walk those hands back underneath the shoulders. And let's set up for a twist movement. So I want you to send your right toes to the back of your mat. Try not to shift back. Keep your shoulders over your wrists. Then just slightly step your foot across the left and pull your right hip towards your right hand. Staying here, looking to the earth. Drishti, eye gaze is very important. Be careful rolling to your pinky toe. Keep driving your big toe into the earth like you're spinning it to your pinky toe. Hold here and take your hand to your hip. Then the next option is turn to look to the side. And then we can extend the hand up to the sun, looking to the thumb. And then we return. We uncross and we take a pause here. And if you felt a lot of pressure in those hands, imagine you're flicking water off your fingertips. From here, step that left foot back. Take a pause. Remember, we're not shifting back. We're keeping our shoulders over our wrists, and then we step the left foot across. Drive your big toe towards the floor and pull your left hip forward so you can squeeze the inner thighs. This will challenge your balance. You may get a little wiggly and wobbly, and that's okay. Start to bring your hand up to your right hip and stay looking to the floor, or turn to look to the right, or extend the hand up to the sun, looking up to the thumb. We release the hand to the earth. We can uncross the leg and slowly float our hips to our heels for child's pose. Take a moment here and just release. Feel the breath fill the back. Then start to walk your fingertips out and away from the body, Utthita Balasana. And let's make our way into this kneeling plank a few times, starting to build some strength here. So inhale forward to kneeling plank, float back towards your heels. Inhale forward to kneeling plank, float back to those heels. Two more times. On this next one, let's set up for that variation of Vishistasana side plank. Inhale forward to kneeling plank. Turn your left toes under, lift the knee off the mat. Kick your foot to the right as you roll and open to the left. So we have this kneeling version and push the floor away. You're going to see if you look down, your shoulder is behind the wrist and that's what you want. Go ahead and lift the leg if you'd like. Hold for power here or stretch and reach over nice and long. Let's deconstruct the pose. Bring the hand back up to the sky. Release your foot and turn back down to the mat. But we have another side. So let's set up for the other side. Make sure you're not hunching your back. You're pulling your chest over your thumbs. Turn the right toes under. Lift the knee off the mat. When you're ready, kick the foot to the left and roll your body open to the right. Nice long reach through those fingertips and pushing the floor away. Feel like your ribs are pulling your hips from the mat. Stay here or lift the leg. Stay here or stretch over the body. Deconstruct. Bring the hands back up. Bring the foot back down. Turn yourself down to the mat and take a float back of hips to heels. Again, if you need a moment to make a soft fist and go ahead and roll out those wrists. Now let's move a little deeper into this strength building. So what I want you to do is come into table and grab your blocks, and you can send your blocks onto your mat where allows us to lift a little higher. Some of you can keep them flat. Some of you won't work the blocks at all. Some of you will take the blocks vertical, especially if you're very tight in your hips. This will help you move a little deeper into the pose. So what I want you to do is step your left foot forward, and we have this kneeling lunge. So 90-degree, knee over ankle, knee over ankle. Now, for some of us, we're going to want to take the right side of our mat and fold it in half to give us a little more padding for that right knee. Make sure you're not sitting back into your right heel. Stay driving down into both feet. Then inhale, rise up to the sky, squeeze the inner thighs. On an exhale, bring your right arm forward, left arm back, twisting. Draw your left hip back and squeeze your inner thighs. Inhale, come back to center. We're going to twist again. Exhale, bring the right arm forward, left arm back. Stay here or take the right hand to your left hip. And as you do this, turn and look to that left thumb. Extend the arm out on an inhale and then rise back up to center. Exhale, bring your hands to the heart. Now, if you're not twisting deep, you can come back to the arms being out. Otherwise, inhale, lift your ribs, and exhale, send your right elbow towards your left thigh. And instead of sinking, I want you to push your left hand into the right and spin your ribs a little deeper, squeezing those inner thighs. 4 and 5. Inhale, rise up nice and tall. Exhale, release the hands towards your blocks, move them out of the way. As you send your foot back, let's come into down dog. So turn toes under, lift hips to the sky, and take a moment. Feel free to pedal out those heels. All right, let's go ahead and send our knees back down to the mat. If you're here, walk the blocks back underneath your shoulders. And now step the right foot forward. And when you do this, go ahead, feel free to fold that mat in half. Take your knee underneath the block. Take your knee back underneath your hip, holding here. And so for some of us, we're going to stay right here again, driving down into both feet. Inhale, rise up. Squeeze your inner thighs as you exhale, left arm forward, right arm back. Hug the right hip in and back. Feel like you're twisting from belly button to shoulder. Inhale, come back to center. Then let's twist again. Exhale, left arm forward, right arm back. Then take this left hand and bring it over to the right hip, just deepening that twist a little bit more. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, bring the hands to the heart. So do you want to go a little bit deeper? Inhale, lift the heart and ribs, and exhale that left elbow across. You can stay here, but be careful of sinking into the left arm. Otherwise, push the right hand into the left, twist a little deeper. And 1, inhale, rise up. Exhale, release the hands. Again, move the block off the mat. Release your right knee back, setting up for down dog. Turn the toes under, lift those hips back up to the sky. Feel free to pedal the heels. So we took this series in kneeling, and now I want you to challenge yourself for a little more power here. Float your left foot off the earth and use that momentum of the left being lifted to sweep it forward towards your hands. Now, if you need to use your blocks and stay here, and your twist will stay from down here, go ahead and go there. But drive through both heels, and then inhale, lift your arms up to the sky. Exhale, bring the right arm forward, left arm back. Squeeze those inner thighs towards each other. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, bring the right arm forward, left arm back, but then take your right hand to your left hip. Squeeze, 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 pull that left hip back and in. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, hands to heart, twisting prayer. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, bring the right elbow towards the left. Push the left hand into right. Drive through both heels. Feeling the difference between kneeling and the full version. Go ahead and release your hands to the earth. Step into down dog. Take a little pedal of those heels. And now let's take the same thing on the other side. Float that right leg off the earth. Use that momentum to swing the leg forward towards your hands. Feel free to set up on the blocks if you need them. Otherwise, inhale, rise up. Again, pushing through both heels. Exhale, left arm forward, right arm back. Lifting the heart. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, bring the left hand across to the right hip. Hug your right hip in and back. Bend into those knees. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, hands to heart, setting up for twisting prayer. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, bring that arm across, and then feel free to push into that right hand into left, spinning your ribs a little bit more. As we make our way into down dog, release the hands to the earth, step into that dog, and feel free to pedal the heels. You have the option of coming down into child's pose instead. And so I want you to find what works for you. Holding in this down dog, pedaling the heels if you need it. All right, let's add on to a little more strength work. Bring your right foot off the earth and make your way into warrior two. So the same sweep forward, but float your left heel down and then drive through the right foot to rise up. Set up your feet, they're your foundation. Grounding down and pressing your knee open, reaching nice and long. So we worked the hips a lot. So let's work the shoulders. Tap up, tap under, tap up, and under. Good. Keep moving through this tap. 3 more sets. Last 2. And now from here, reach the arms nice and long. Drive through that right big toe as you straighten the leg, and then stretch over that right leg for triangle pose. Release your hand to your thigh, your shin, or feel free to grab onto a block. We have 3 different heights, but it's not about getting to the floor. So if you're sticking your butt out to reach down, I want you to scoop your left glute under like you're going into cat pose. We're going to pass through warrior two to get into reverse warrior. So find those legs, pressing the knee open, turn your palm up, and then stretch to the back. Yes, be careful of wanting to turn towards that stretch. Shoulders and hips are aiming straight out to the long edge of your mat. Then windmill down to your right foot like a low lunge. And from here, step into plank and step into down dog and take a nice break here. Then let's float our left foot off the earth. We're going to take those same poses. Relax your right heel so you get this lengthening. And then sweep the foot towards your hands as the heel releases down. Inhale, open up into warrior two. Adjust your feet. Remember, this is your foundation. And while you're here, if you remember that figure 4 while we're pressing the knee open, I want that same sensation while you're here in warrior 2. But let's corkscrew the arms, come into the shoulders and circle out. In and circle out. Chest is proud. Shoulder blades are down your back. 2 more. And then hold long and strong. Setting up for triangle. Drive into the big toe mound to straighten the leg. Activate the arch as you stretch and a slow tip. Imagine your back is against the wall. Think of your tailbone working into a variation of cat. So moving into reverse warrior, let's pass through warrior two first. Set up the legs, turn the palm up, and then stretch to the back of the mat. Squeeze the heels towards each other. Fire up those inner thighs just a little bit more. Be careful of holding on to the leg. See if you can use your core a little bit more. Let's windmill down to the earth to a low lunge, and then step into down dog. Take a pause here. Feel free to pedal out those heels. Then take a pause. Walk your feet forward to your hands. Coming into forward fold. Maybe your knees are bent. Maybe the legs are straight. And then slowly round yourself up one vertebra at a time. Standing tall. So we took figure four when we were laying down on the ground. So let's go ahead and do it in seated while we anchor onto the right leg. Bring the left knee up, cross the ankle over the thigh, sit the hips back and down. For 5, squeeze your inner thighs. 4, 3, 2, and on 1, release into warrior 1. Press the arms up to the sky. So fire up through the left glute, bend into the right knee. Try to press your palms together as you reach to the sun. As the hands come into the heart, we're going to straighten the leg. Make sure both hips are aiming straight ahead. Sometimes that left hip likes to open. So squaring the hips as we set up for pyramid pose, Parsvottanasana. Tipping forward, bringing the hands to the thigh, the shins. Some may choose to use blocks, while others release and fold. Feel your heart pulling towards your toes as you lengthen out of your low back. Bend the knee, inhale, rise up. As you turn to your left, you're going to open up into a standing straddle, but your toes are turned out. Let's move through moonflower, sunflower. Exhale, bend. Inhale, rise. Exhale, sweep down. Inhale, rise up. Good. So we bend and we reach and we sweep and we reach. 2 more sets. One more. And come up nice and tall. Release your hands to your hips. Turn to your left foot and step to the top of your mat. As you step to the top of your mat, what I want you to do is just anchor here through the soles of the feet. Again, we're going to do that standing figure 4, or like what we were doing laying on our back. So it's a different feeling, and now we have the balance challenge. So that's where we're going to pull our strength. So as you pull your right knee up, cross the left ankle over the thigh, and then sit the hips back and down. Squeeze your inner thighs towards each other and hold 5, 4, 3. Now release into warrior 1. Send the right foot back, lifting the arms to the sky. Again, we try and keep our palms glued so our arms are very active, and then squeeze your right glute as you bend into this left knee. Rib cage is pulled in. So if you're flaring the back, you're going to feel all this pressure in the low back. So pull the belly in, pull the heart up. Floating into our pyramid pose. As the leg straightens, bring the hands to the heart. Make sure your hips are squared to the narrow edge of the mat. And then slowly tip hands to thigh, shin, or wherever it takes you. Feeling this deeper stretch into that left hamstring. If you are tight in the hamstring, you may want to stop here. Otherwise, you're going to start to open your hip up to go deeper. I want your hips to stay squared as you stretch the back of the leg. So inhale, bend the knee to rise up. And then exhale, open up into standing straddle. And again, let's go back into that moonflower, sunflower. Exhale, bend. Inhale, rise. Exhale, sweep down. Inhale, rise up. Feel the pressure grounding you down into the soles of the feet as your knees press open towards your toes. I want you to take one more. Then, as you rise up, take your feet parallel. So, you may have to pull your heels and pivot them out so your feet are parallel to the edge of the mat. If you need support, bring your hands down and walk them down your thighs for straddle fold. Otherwise, hinge, flat back, Prasarita Padottanasana, wide leg straddle fold. And some of you are going to take your grip into the mat like you're pulling your head through the legs. Others, you're going to stretch down so your head touches the floor. So it's just a deeper activation into the hinge. So one is pulling through, and the other one feels like you're pulling down. It doesn't mean you walk your feet wider to come into the head on the floor. It just means you're pulling the belly up and in and stretching deeper from that hip joint. Then, as you lift out of this, walk over to your right foot into a low lunge and step back to your down dog. Take a pause here. Hips are high, heels are heavy. Press a little firmer between the thumb and index finger as you hug your triceps towards your ears. Then inhale forward to plank. Exhale, bring your knees to the mat. I want to work the back. Let me move my blocks out of the way. And on an exhale, unlock your toes and send your chest all the way down to the mat. Relax, crocodile. But let's work baby cobra for a moment. So you're going to keep your legs and your toes glued to the floor. And when you inhale, squeeze and lift the shoulders up and in. Heart lifts and slowly come back down. Again, inhale, heart and hands. Exhale down one more time. Inhale, lift, hold 5, 4, lift a little higher and release. Bring your right ear to the mat. Inhale, nice and deep. Exhale, let it out. Now bring your chin back to the center of the mat or your forehead. Keep your hands where they're at for now. I want you to keep your upper body glued to the floor. It's just your legs that are going to move. So here we go. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift. Reach through your toes, belly button to spine. Slowly come down. One more time. Lift. Can you lift a little higher? And slowly come down. Bring your left ear to the mat. Inhale nice and deep. Open, let it out. Come back again. Release your arms along the side body. Forehead or chin on the mat, but this time everything's going to lift up. Ready? Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down. Again, inhale, lift up. Tuck your chin in. Don't pull your chin forward. Tuck it in, lengthen, lengthen, and lengthen. Lower down. And let's take one more and we're going to hold a little bit longer. Inhale, lift up. Lift a little higher. Squeeze everything in. Breathe. And come on down. From here, bring your hands in front, chin or forehead on your hands, bend the knees, windshield wiper, but now we're prone. So sweep the legs side to side. So our belly is down on the earth as we sway from hip to hip. Making your way back to center, you can bring your hands under your chest, press up, and some of us will make our way into child's pose, or you're going to stop in puppy pose, whatever feels best for you. Feel the air flood into every space in the back, releasing any tension you may have created. Then slowly round yourself up onto those heels. And from here, sit to the side, bring the legs around front. So coming back, today's practice was about stretch and strength. So we've done stretching in the beginning. Now we went to strength, and let's come back into stretching. So go ahead and grab that belt. And I want you to take that belt again into that Janu Shirshasana. Sometimes we can compare what happened in the beginning of our practice till now. So we tuck the left foot in and we bring the belt to the ball of the foot and we extend the leg out nice and long. Rotate the belly button to the knee, both thighs and knees heavy to the mat as you lift tall, and then slowly tip yourself forward, with or without the belt. Gently rise up. If you were feeling that in your low back, you have to ask yourself, were you pulling too far or were you rounding into your back? So let's take it to the other side. Take the belt to the ball or the start of the heel. So not right across the arch of your foot, either the ball of the foot or the start of the heel. It's a nice place to place it. And then our right foot tucks in. We rotate our belly button to the knee. Again, both knees are going heavy to the mat or thighs, whatever you want to focus on, lifting up nice and tall, and then slowly tip forward. Again, be careful of your chin leading the stretch. Let the top of the head shine to those toes. Some of you will keep your hands in, some of you will walk them down. Some of them, we're going to be up tall, and this is as far as our stretch goes. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. This is about you. What can your body do today? And then we take a slow release to come up nice and tall. And keep the belt on the ball or the arch of the heel of the left foot as you bring your right knee up. Take the belt into your hands and then slowly lay yourself back, giving that left leg a lift to the sky. And again, maybe it's on the start of your heel or you're going to transfer it to the arch of your foot. Pull the elbows down to the mat if you're using a belt. If you're not using a belt, hamstrings or calf is where you're going to take your hands. And then as you're here, pull your belly button towards the floor and either keep the right leg bent or send it out nice and long. Notice, is your left hip crunching up towards your thigh? And if so, draw that hip down and away. Activate through both heels, feel power through both legs. And then can you stretch the leg closer towards your chest, activating maybe a deeper stretch? And if your leg is shaking or you're clenching your teeth to do this, you have to ask yourself, is this where you should go to find ease and peace in your practice? Then release. Take the belt into the left hand, the right arm can go down, and slowly open that leg to the side. Take your time, listen to the hip joint, see where it takes you. Then take your right hand and press it on your right hip bone and push that right hip bone back to the floor. And as you push through your left heel, draw your belly in a little bit tighter here. And then on an inhale, bring your leg back up to the sky. Change hands. Bring your left arm down. Now, as the leg floats across the body, if you don't have a belt, you're going to bend your knee and let your hand go to the outer thigh. If your leg is straight, I want you to make sure you take your thumb, bent or straight, to this left hip. Pull the left hip down and away from your ribs as you turn to look to that left hand. Because the wall is in the way, I'm going to keep my knee bent. If you're like, but I want my leg to go straight, adjust yourself on your mat. Easy peasy. Find your adjustment. Make sure that left foot isn't going to the floor. I want you to push like you're putting an imprint on the wall. Come back to center. Keep that left leg up in the air and bring your right foot onto the belt. Now release your left leg. First, set up the stretch by bringing your elbows down to the mat. Decide, is this where you need to stay? Or are you going to slide that left leg out, drawing either the stretch deeper or pushing straight up to the sky? You decide what you need. All right, release. Take the belt into the right hand, left arm down to the earth. Slowly start to open that leg out to the side, keeping your left hip bone pulling to the earth. Push through that heel. Make sure your left hip is pulling down, right leg is opening. Inhale back to center. Change hands. And if you don't have a belt, you're going to bend the knee. Otherwise, keep the leg straight and take that leg across the body and then roll your right hip away from your ribs. So notice the difference of here, crunching, and then lengthening. And we want that lengthen. Push through your foot, draw your right shoulder to the earth. Try not to let your leg collapse. We want active legs. Inhale, come back to center. This time, release the belt and draw both legs towards the body. Setting up for happy baby, we did half in the beginning. So think of child's pose as you open your knees outside your rib cage. Some of you are going to stay right here. This is the only stretch you need. Others, transfer your hands to your hamstrings. Hold the ceiling up with your heels. So your heels are over your knees. If you're down here, it's okay. Just make sure you're not kicking your legs out like a frog. From here, we can move to our calves, our ankles, or our feet. And if you're lifting your bottom off the floor, I want you to put your tailbone back down towards the floor and just hold here. If you're one who likes to roll from side to side, for some of us that feels better than holding static. You decide what you need. Feel like you're pulling your hands to your floor and you're pushing the heels to your ceiling as you feel a little space between your mid back, but your sacrum, that bony shelf above your tailbone, is on the earth. Let's take another release and a hug of the legs into the body. Then bring the feet to the mat. Feet are together and take a moment into Supta Baddha Konasana, recline bound angle. Your hands can be on your thighs, they can be on your belly, or down on the earth. Let's return to that breath, but this time we're going to do a ratio breath. You're going to inhale for 4 and exhale for 8, but keep the same cadence for your count. So we inhale, pause, exhale 8. Pause, inhale 4, pause, then exhale 8. Pause, inhale 4, pause, exhale 8. Inhale, exhale. Three more times. When you finish that last inhale of 4, exhale to 8, slowly let your knees rise up. Heel toe the feet wider than hip width apart and let your inner knees roll in. Hands can rest on your stomach. They can release down to the mat. But just take a moment here in this deconstructive rest. Let the body find ease before we move into Shavasana. Then slowly release your arms and legs down to the earth like you can melt into the mat. Close the eyes if you haven't already. Just imagine yourself in your favorite destination. Maybe it's the beach, it's the mountains, it's your couch or the bathtub. And just imagine that sensation you have when you're there. The relaxation, the ease. For some, you can hear the ocean. Your breath matches the ebb and flow. For others, if you're in the mountains, it's hearing the birds, the rustling of the leaves. If it's the bathtub, maybe you feel that warm water just washing all the stress and tension off the body. Continue to let go. Feel the breath filling the space of the body where it's pushing stress and tension out. Slowly begin to wiggle the fingers and toes, bringing movement to the body. Stretch the arms overhead, reaching long. It's reawakening stretch. And then we can bend our knees and gently roll the body to one side, resting on our side for a few moments. And then when you're ready, press into the hands to rise up into easy seated pose. And as we sit up nice and tall, we can bring the hands to the heart. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join me on the mat. I invite you to smile and finish with Namaste. Enjoy the day. Take this stretch with you, this strength and stretch anytime. I'll see you next time.